Three, two, one. Boom. We're going to do this all over again? No, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast. I am Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver, and we are getting cameras lined up. And this is brought to you by Boss Shot Shells. Check out our friends from Michigan with the greatest ammo in the world.
Starlink's got me all out of sorts.
Yeah, we're trying to do. We just got Starlink at the lodge, and it works really good, but we've got to hardwire our stuff for the podcast. We were going to do a live podcast with Clay tomorrow, but it don't look like it's going to work for another week or so till we get some more equipment. Every time I think that we've done crossed the next threshold, it's something else.
Something else all the time.
Are we going to call Logan?
Nope, he's busy.
Okay. All right, let's talk about things in the world that are going on right now. First thing I want to talk about is the Father of the Year. Yes, folks, we're going to give out a big honker. They have given out recently the Woman of the Year, which is a man. And they've given out the Female Athlete of the Year, which is a man. And now we're going to give out a Man of the Year to a complete pussy, and that's Pat Ford, the sports writer for Sports Illustrated. Do you want to know why I'm saying this?
Sure.
Pat Ford's daughter is an Olympic swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
She was the fourth place girl in the race won by the guy with the pecker.
Oh.
And he come out all woke about 6 months ago about how the NCAA, it was nice to see them helping the women out, blah, 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 in support of this. Little did he know his daughter was going to get knocked off the podium her senior year of swimming because of that. And you know why he's a pussy? Because he hasn't stood up and said anything.
Right.
He's selling out his own daughter.
Well, you know.
And
sometimes that's what it takes.
For what?
Sometimes, you know, what you thought was a good idea, turns out it bites you in the ass. So good for him.
I'm embarrassed for him. I'm embarrassed for his daughter.
Should have taken a stand before it.
He should have.
Before fucking nut cutting time.
All the dads should have, and all the parents should have.
Sure.
The parents of these girls should have stood for their daughters. The universities should have stood with their daughters. Their coaches and teammates should have stood with their daughters. Now the girls said if they did it all over again that they would not race against him. Well, why didn't you do that before?
Right.
Did you think he was going to start losing all of a sudden? He swims 5 seconds faster than y'all do because he's a man.
Yeah. That's why you say something right away. You don't fucking wait for this thing to grow into a monster that you can't control anymore.
This won't happen next year, I don't think.
It shouldn't. It's a fucking disgrace.
It is a disgrace. It's a disgrace
to all
women.
women's sports.
Yes, it is. Now,
I feel terrible for these women that are having to go up against this dude. I feel sorry for the women that have to get into a fucking cage with a man that's going to fucking crack their skull.
Yeah.
That's not right. There should be no, if you're engaged in a physical activity, you should have to present your chromosomes. And that's how we should define where you're going to compete. If you have chromosomes of XY, you compete against other XY. Don't call it men or any of that bullshit anymore. XYs, you're over here. XX, you're over here. And that'll solve it. Because you can't fix that shit on a chromosomal level.
I'm with you. It just blows my mind that what's shocking to me is I grew up when they started this burn your bra women's liber shit. Mm-hmm. I was all for them burning their bras. Free titties everywhere. Hell, free them puppies. I don't care. I'm not a sexist. If a woman wants to do something and she's better at it, let her do it. I think everybody should be able to do any job they want to do, not based on your sexuality, who you sleep with, what your beliefs are. If you want to be a ditch digger, a lineman, a police officer, a cop, a doctor, whatever it is, shouldn't be based on your sex. It should be based on your ability.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be a fireman and you can pass the same physical goals that a man can or whatever the standard is, that's what it should be. It shouldn't be two-step fucking standard, double standards. That pisses me off, and it has for years. And I listened to my dad talk about that growing up in the 70s, and my dad was a sexist, I guess, at the time. He was just a typical man, grew up in the 70s, and he would say, you know, they shouldn't have two fucking systems, and I agree with him. I don't think you should. But we have went from one side way to the other side. Now, should we let... I watched the NCAA basketball tournament last night.
Really?
Because I watched Tech and Texas play.
Tech and Texas played last night?
No. Tech and Texas played. Tech won. Texas got beat last night, but me and Mom watched both games. And I pulled for Tech and Texas. I'm going to pull for Tech the whole way. I hope they win it all. I don't think they will, but I hope they will. I hope they do. Anyways, watching the game last night, I thought, you know, there are kids playing right now in Texas. They're going to bring in their 8th or 9th kid off the bench, their 3rd or 4th kid off the bench, their 8th or 9th player in the game. And that kid, if he played in the WNBA, would be a fucking superstar.
Sure.
They couldn't stop him. He could have 50 points a game easy. Just
Right.
not even compatible. So what's keeping him from going over and playing in the WNBA?
Nothing.
All he's got to do is say, I feel like I'm a woman. And are we supposed to accept that? Fuck no. And you know why he's not going to do that? Because he'd be fucking embarrassed like I would be. He should get shunned. That dude swimming should be shunned by all the other swimmers over there.
He didn't get near as much of a boo. See you, Mikey. He didn't get near as much pushback as I thought he would. When somebody told me that he got booed, it wasn't that bad.
No, he should. He should get booed off the fucking... He should catch so much shit by the men. Them men fucking swimmers on that team should be fucking making fun of his ass. Boy, I would be. Look at you, fucking loser. You were 6th on our team out of 6 guys, but now you're number 1 on the women's in the world. You must be proud. You know? Just... Oh, and ESPN just kisses that ass right now with all this women's shit. They took a moment of silence before the game to support you can't say gay in a classroom until they're 3rd or 4th grade. Why does a kid under 3rd grade need to even know what a gay is?
Right.
Do you want to explain to Reese right now why he should date a woman and not a man?
No.
I mean, but think about that. That's what they want to talk to. Would you be pissed off if the school talked to them about that in class that he's in right now? Yeah. Well, who are these school board?
You're
on school board.
Yeah.
How could you? How does that even come about?
Don't get me lying. I don't know if it's passed through the state to begin with, and that's the curriculum that you have to adopt. I don't know.
Well, this is in Florida, and I guess they've stepped out big time against it. And then Disney, you know, they're all for that, which Disney is a sick, evil company, I believe. And it's funny, Disney was built on family values.
Well, Jeff, you do one little, you put a mouse in blackface, and you got to apologize.
Is that what this is all about, you think?
I don't know. Didn't Mickey Mouse have blackface one time?
Fuck, I don't know. He was a fucking mouse.
Yeah, but he had adult features.
There's an old video floating around on Disney that shows him duck hunting.
Right.
It's all about duck hunting. And it's just, and that was normal. And I don't know where we took a wrong turn. Someone asked me the other day why I thought the NBA was so much worse than it used to be. And I said, kids are soft. These kids that think they're so hard that grow up in these tough households and stuff, they don't have hard households. There's some kids that got some shitty lives. There's some homeless kids out there and stuff. But the average kid is soft compared to what kids were like back a long time ago.
There was Mickey in blackface. We got him. Mella.
The most racist moments in Disney cartoons. Why is blackface so racist?
Because you're not supposed to do blackface, Jeff. What do you mean, why is it racist?
Well, I mean, when blackface came out...
Everybody took a poll. Blackface is racist.
Okay.
Hey, speaking of this... so
hold on. We're on this. Let's talk about this for a minute. Then we'll go to what you want to talk about. This is racist.
Blackface.
Okay. Back when blackface first came about, Charlie Chaplin days probably, they didn't have black actors.
Okay.
You know, I didn't make the rules. That's just the rules. They didn't have black actors really at that time. So he was portraying a black person. I don't understand how that's racist, though. I mean, what's the difference in Marlon Wayans and them playing the white chicks?
Well, Jeff, if you're going to play by the same rules, then it shouldn't be.
But it doesn't bother me. Does it bother you?
Blackface. So here's the history of blackface,
Thank you.
And I didn't know what it was, but they would make a caricature of a black person.
Right. Okay. I don't think that's bad.
You don't think? like
no different.
overemphasizing and you know they'd put big lips and big noses, and they would over-characterize black people. And it says here they would dehumanize African Americans.
Well,
so that was the history of blackface.
Okay. But what about the blackface that you see like
but they wouldn't accurately portray black people. They would go over the top in their portrayal of these of black people back in the day.
Okay, then I can understand that. But when you see blackface, like when Charlie Chaplin just had a black face on and just black makeup, I don't. You know what? Black people have the best comedy. Coming to America.
I agree.
Great show. Because they make fun of themselves. They make fun of the things that are going on. White people are boring. Well, 90% of the white people out there are boring as fuck.
I agree with you, but
that's why when you meet a white guy that's funny, it's got a lot of character, everybody's like, "Hi, that some bitch is funny," because there's not enough of us. Most of us are boring. You go to a black barber shop, and there's 5 guys in there to make you laugh your ass off.
White performers in blackface played characters that perpetuated a range of negative stereotypes about African Americans, including being lazy, ignorant, superstitious, hypersexual, criminal, and cowardly. So that was blackface. I could understand where they would have a problem with that.
That part I understand, but just the actual...
But that's what it was.
Okay. But when black people wear a white face and do it, it's socially accepted.
Yeah, but how many? You've got Eddie Murphy. How many other people? Marlon Wayans.
Okay, but
who else?
Well, who does blackface now?
Nobody does.
But they've done whiteface recently.
40 years ago. I
mean,
whoa,
hold on. Coming to America too, they did it.
Well, that's a great character though.
So it's okay if it's a great character.
I mean, did he do anything that demonized white people, that showed them in a negative light? Did it show them being, boring in bed? Or I mean, I don't know what the
boring in bed.
I don't know what do white people do.
Boring in bed.
Good with money. I mean, what?
Whoa, that was about a racist comment.
How's that racist? Because wasn't the guy Jewish?
So now Jews are all just tightwads with good with money.
Stereotypically, yes.
Okay.
But was the guy Jewish in Coming to America?
You gonna say he has a small penis too? I mean, you're just going might as well hit it out of the ballpark.
Small penis, good with money. Like, wasn't the guy Jewish? And
he come across as an old Jewish guy, but
right.
I don't think he ever said he was Jewish. We just assumed that because we were
racist.
Yes.
And evidently now anti-Semitic.
I think people need to loosen the fuck up. And
I'm not disagreeing with you there, but
whether you're in blackface or whiteface, that's the problem. We're all too damn sensitive these days.
Sure.
You ever seen the show In Living Color when the Wayans was on? Jim Carrey was on it.
Oh, okay. No, I never saw that.
Before
my time.
There's a great character on there called Wanda, and Jamie Foxx plays a black lady, and he's got fucking lips that stick out to here. Looks like a Botox.
I've seen.
He's
her.
a funny motherfucker, and and they always get. They had this little skinny black dude on there. I can't remember his name now, but he was always in. One time he went in to get a massage, and she was giving him a massage or something, and Jamie Foxx goes, "They say I'm pretty on the inside." He goes, "Well, turn your ugly ass inside out." But they were making fun of black women.
Right.
Today they would get to raise hell about that shit.
Sure.
And I
don't know that they'd get all up in arms about women because, look what we've done to women's sports. So I don't know. Anyway,
go ahead.
Back to what I was going to say. I watched Casino Royale, the James Bond on Netflix. Excellent picture. If you haven't seen
the original one or the new one?
No, the new one. She said that there were organizations that were shorting the airline companies pre 9/11, and on 9/12 they made a fortune. And I looked it up, and that's actually true. People were shorting United and American Airlines stocks.
Who was doing it?
Well, Jeff.
Is it our senators and shit?
I can look it back up, but
this was in Casino Royale.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, she said because they were talking about something, and she's like, it's just like all the millionaires that were shorting the airline company pre 9/11, and then 9/12 they made a fortune because the airlines crashed.
Yes, big time.
And I looked it up, and I'll be damned if that wasn't true.
I think that 9/11 is going to be the next JFK that in 30 years are going to let it. Our fucking government's crooked as fuck.
Here we go.
From the top to the bottom of the top.
of course, Snopes said it wasn't true, but
that means
well,
it is
not
true
that
then.
it wasn't true, but it did happen. But whatever. Let me see if I can find who did it. But
Probably Nancy
the
Pelosi.
Times reported it. The New York Times reported it on September 18th. So, I know a lot of people are. Does that say the Pakistanis were doing it?
Yeah.
Well, that's no. The precise volume of intelligence that American agencies had regarded, so they were shorting it. Nobody over here was,
Okay.
according to that. So that would make sense.
I just have a hard time believing still that George W. Bush was in on that. But as I age and the more shit comes out, makes you wonder.
Stanley. The Times reported on September 18th that investigations were underway into the unusually large number of shares in insurance companies and airlines sold off before the attacks in the UK, Italy, Germany. Accounts in the weeks that followed reported a notable pattern of trading in the option of United America, as well as Morgan Stanley and other market activity. An article published in Journal of Business in 2006 proved statistical evidence of an unusual put option. That means sell, Jeff.
Yes, I know that.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Call means buy. Just so you know the lingo, Jeff. I don't want you to feel like you're out of place here. Put option market activity day before 9/11. So there was a high number.
There's nothing really surprises me. It's sad that I grew up in that last generation. My generation's the last normal generation to grow up with a regular with Santa Claus.
Where's Santa Claus gone? How many people don't believe in Santa Claus? You keep saying that.
I was the
I don't
last
know of
generation.
any kids in Reese's class that don't believe in
would you let
Santa
me
Claus
finish?
unless they listen to.
We are
earlier.
the last generation of kids that grew up with some real innocence and peace in our country.
I fully disagree with you.
No, I don't. You guys learn quicker. It happens. It happens way too soon now. The world was different then because we didn't have all the social media. We grew up before video games. Atari come out when we were 7 or 8 years old, so we didn't grow up with any kind of handheld devices or nothing. We grew up without cable TV, most of us at first. We had 3 channels. You watched cartoons on Saturdays, the only time you could watch cartoons. You played outside. You walked everywhere in town, or you rode a bike. Kids were skinny then. Whole different world than we live in today with kids. And I do believe that I'm one of the last generations of that happening.
I think you were the second of 3 generations that have ever had that happen in the entire history on human planet.
What do you mean?
Before, number one, Santa Claus wasn't invented until the 1800s, which we've discussed on this podcast.
Those kids didn't grow up the innocent world we did.
Exactly. So you were it was probably Ron's generation, your generation, and my generation are the only 3 generations that have ever had what you just described in the entire human history.
You're right on the cusp of it because of you grew up with cable TV. Mm-hmm. So you mean you had access to stuff we didn't have as kids.
Okay.
You got to see stuff you should have probably not seen, but you did see it. But I mean, it's just a different world. You were right on the end of it because your childhood and mine were similar but completely different in different ways. You still played outside a lot. Now, your little brother, though, his age is completely different to yours in a 10 years difference because technology caught up so much.
Correct.
When I was a kid, we didn't have any cell phones.
Okay.
I remember the first time we had a cordless phone, which, man, was the best freedom in the whole world because you didn't have to be up your parents' ass if you was on the phone with somebody.
Right.
But your little brother could turn on the fucking radio and listen to everything you were talking about.
Right. Now, before Ron's generation, people were so poor. So Ron's parents and definitely Ron's grandparents and great-grandparents, they were working by 15. One or both of their parents were dead by the time they were 20.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Most females were going to have about 4 children before they reached the age of 22.
I think you're going a little
In
extreme.
1895?
Oh, I didn't know. I thought you were talking about Dad's parents.
I said, or his grandparents.
Oh, yes, you're right about that.
So Ron's generation was probably the first generation that ever had any sense of normalcy and home life and stability. Because before that, we were in World War II.
Dad's dad was born in 1944, and he was born in the middle of World War II.
Okay,
so towards the last 2 years of it.
Right. So when he was of age,
when
6,
he knew
7,
what was
8,
going
9,
on, then Korea started.
But it was relatively peaceful. We were not all hands on deck like we were in World War II.
You're right.
We were coming out. We were out of the Depression by this time. People were having more money. And then by the time you came along in the 60s and then in the 70s as a child, we took a little back to, I know you love the 70s and have nostalgia for that, but it was terrible in the United States if you just look at the history.
No, it was not.
Record high inflation, gas prices were soaring, food prices were out of the world.
So basically the same thing we have going on right now.
We had a very, very weak president, and then we got into the Cold War of the 80s. But if you look at things at the home front, the 80s and 90s, in my opinion, were the best time in America. Everybody had money. It was relatively peaceful. I know we had Desert Storm.
In the 80s, not everybody had money. We was going through a horrible...
The dot-com bubble, I'm looking at late 80s into the 90s.
The 90s is when the dot-com bubble come in.
I think the 90s were the greatest time to be an American. More money, well, aside from now. Right now is the best time to be an American. Contrary to what everybody says about inflation and all that other bullshit, you've got more at your hand.
My life is better now than it ever has been financially.
Correct, yes. And I would say most people in America would probably agree with you. They can say what they want about inflation. It scares the shit out of people. Russia's in Ukraine. That's scary. There's no other time that's been better to be alive and to be an American than right now. You've got more disposable income. Most people can afford the extra $20 at the gas tank. It sucks, I know, but you can afford it. Now, if this continues and the dollar crashes like some people are saying, we might be in for a long road.
I don't
in years from now.
Right now,
but right now, everything's relatively peaceful.
We're still living on the Trump dollar,
but that could crash at any moment.
Yes.
And a lot of experts are saying that the dollar is going to crash and we're going to be fucked.
Right.
That will suck.
But
that's going to suck for about 90% of Americans.
What the fuck did we start on Santa Claus? We went into this.
You said,
I think that my childhood, my generation that I grew up with, I was born in 68. The kids born from 1960 to
1991, 2.
But
Zach had pretty much the same childhood I did.
I understand, but my childhood was different because it was the last generations of innocence up until about 12 years old.
That's the same as me.
No, it's not, because the kids born in the 60s, things were more. Society expected more out of us. There was more discipline around the world. Kids were scared of authority. People were scared of authority. There was more respect in the country then. As we've gotten past that, it's gotten different. You grew up in a small town, so yes, you did have that. I'll give you that much. But even in a bigger town, we walked the streets at night and stuff. You didn't worry about stuff like you do now. You didn't worry about drive-by shootings and all that. They didn't have all that shit. That started in the 90s. But that's just what I'm talking about. I think that the kids.
Are we not counting the Capone gang and all those people in the 30s?
That was before. That was a different time too.
Okay.
I'm not saying that.
Either way, we get back to there's only been about a 30-year window in America,
where times
in the entire history of this fucking planet, that there's been 30 years of relative peace. And let's build a family here, and things are okay.
The nuclear family.
Things are stable enough that I can build a family. Because if you look before that,
you're arguing against yourself on this.
I'm not
disagreeing with you on any of that. I'm not disagreeing with you.
So you got 30 years.
That was really a prime time to be a.
I would even bump it up to 40s. I'd go from 50 to 90.
Are probably the best times, unless you're black, because then the 50s and 60s were horrible for them. They say
terrible.
Yes.
So it all depends on what lens you're looking through.
Probably so, but I think as a country a whole, when it comes to respect,
not really, not unless you're black.
They still had respect for each other and their families. The worst thing was,
are you fucking high right now?
Hold on, LBJ, when they started all this welfare, was the worst thing ever happened to the black community.
I would say it was the worst thing that ever happened to America.
Outside of slavery, I'm not, because we're not, because that's the worst thing ever. We all agree with that. I mean, anybody that thinks slavery was
and that's
is wrong.
I don't know how far our scope is,
but let's just say since 1900.
Okay.
After World War II, one of the worst things happened to our country was they started the welfare system.
Yeah, but what were you going to do back then? You're in the middle of a depression.
No, the LBJ started that shit in the 60s. We weren't in
I'm
a
thinking
depression.
of FDR, aren't I?
Yeah, and there's the government is not good for anything at all. They aren't. They're not good for anything. Let's talk about social things. The best music,
35 FDR. I was right.
And the best type of music in this country ever started from the 1965 to 1985.
Highly debatable, and I would disagree.
Who would you? Whoa. Then let's check. When's the best generation of
90s.
music?
90s. Fuck yeah. Hootie and the Blowfish.
Hootie and the Blowfish. The greatest music ever. And you come up with Hootie and I like Darius Rucker. I do too. Hootie's great. But that's not the person I would come up with of all time. So you're telling me that Hootie and the Blowfish.
We can get back to this.
No. Hold on.
No. Hold on. Logan's ready.
Okay.
But anyway,
Hootie and the fucking Blowfish, Eric. Can you believe that
1935 was when welfare was started, so it was FDR.
No. I'm talking about when LBJ.
We can get back to this. Write it down. Write down welfare, Hootie and the Blowfish. That way we can get back to this.
Trust me, Hootie and the Blowfish.
Trust me, I will fucking.
We are going to have so many fucking calls about Hootie and the Blowfish.
I fucking love Hootie and the Blowfish.
They're good.
If I'm driving down the road, it's Hootie. It's Hootie all the fucking time. Let Her Cry. I would argue.
That's a good tune. Listened to it yesterday. One of the best tunes ever.
I think it's probably the best song that's ever been written.
I don't know about that.
Jeff?
That's a good song, though. She went to get high. I went back outside and cried. That's a great song.
And then he does a live version of it, and it's remarkable, Jeff. You just don't have good taste.
I rode on an airplane with him one time.
With Hootie?
Yep.
Really?
Darius Rucker. Yep.
He's a good guy.
From Las Vegas to Lubbock, Texas.
Oh.
Hootie and the Blowfish. I can't fucking get over this.
Great songs, Jeff. I don't know what you want from me.
So you take them over your boys at Credence?
100%. Yes. Without question.
And over Leonard Skinner?
Yes.
You've lost your fucking mind.
Logan, you said you were ready, and I'm trying to call you.
Who else in the 90s besides Hootie?
Shit, what's their
Dave
name?
Matthews Band?
No, not them. I can picture their song and I can see the albums. No, they only had about 2 good songs. They do have a very good song though. What the hell? It's my wife's favorite band.
The Cars?
No, they sing. They did Shine.
Florida Georgia Line?
No, fuck.
Didn't they have Shine?
No, I don't know. I'm
You know
trying
that song they have.
I'm trying to get Logan online, and
that song they have, Dirt, is really a good song, and I'm not a Florida Georgia Line person.
Not Shine. What's it called?
Hootie and the Blowfish.
Motherfucker. Sign in required. Who is that?
Somebody trying to sell me some shit.
Okay, well, don't answer because I'm trying to get Logan on.
Hello?
What the hell is their name?
Car warranty service.
Yeah, we don't get Collective Souls. Collective Souls is also good.
I don't even know who they are. So
you don't know who? Yeah, you do. You know who Collective Souls are.
Listen, Mom. You sound like my mom or your mom. I don't know who that is.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Oh my God, I'm gonna pull them up.
I'm sure that I've heard some of their music, but I don't know who they were.
You know who they are.
Do you think they'll make documentaries on these like they did Motley Crue?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not, because I think the shock and awe factor was gone by the. I mean, we were pretty well accustomed to rock stars being coke addicts and, all that good stuff.
So you would put Collective Soul above. I don't like the Rolling Stones, but the Rolling Stones are a 60s and 70s band. So what about them?
They're not my cup of tea.
Aerosmith?
I love Aerosmith, but what generation are they in?
60s and 70s?
Really?
Well, yeah. When do you think that? What generation do you think they are?
I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think since they started in the 70s and was big.
This is Shine. You've heard this song.
Oh, yeah, that is a good song.
Yeah, good tune.
I would not put that up there as better than anything. I mean, we're going to go just by one songs.
I think, now hold on. I do think that the 90s had more one-hit wonders than any other generation. Well, aside from today, probably.
I don't know. There's a lot of them in the 80s,
what
too.
What the fuck happened?
You hung up on him because you're talking about Collective Soul.
I did?
I'll tell you a great one-hit wonder.
I think there's a lot. I think
Drops of Jupiter.
They're not a one-hit wonder. The Train, they've got a lot of good songs.
That's a damn good tune.
I say a lot. They've got a handful.
That is a
5
very,
maybe.
very good song.
Logan Pyeatt, I need your help, bud.
Hey.
Logan.
What's up?
Andy's a dumbass. So listen to this. I bring up, I think the best music ever.
Turn your camera sideways,
was in
please.
the 60s and 70s, I think, is the greatest collection of music ever, and the 80s. From the 60s, 70s, and 80s for sure. And this is what Andy says. Andy, ever he pulls out of his ass, out of all the 60s, 70s, and 80s, to 90s music is the best. And you know what he says? Hootie and the Blowfish.
I was giving him examples.
Hootie and the fucking Blowfish.
I love Hootie. What do you want from me?
Hey, I got to go. Now, listen, Hootie and the Blowfish have 2, maybe 3 incredible songs.
I agree.
Let Her Cry. I can listen to that all day long.
One of the best songs ever. I like Hootie. I mean, it's kind of like the
that.
CCR deal. I like CCR too. I just don't think Hootie and the Blowfish is who I'd pull out of my ass for the greatest band of all times or musicians of all times.
I didn't
CCR as in Cross Canadian Ragweed or Creedence.
Both of them are good. I like both of those.
Here's the deal, Logan. Jeff he's glossing over many details. He's leaving out a lot of details here. Okay. I said that I would put the 90s up against anything in the 60s for sure.
I would agree.
70s possibly, and there's enough good stuff from the 90s that I'm okay with saying that 90s was better or as good as the 80s.
70s music is probably the best, I would say.
Bingo.
Who?
Who from the 70s?
Yes. Aerosmith, Journey.
But once again,
Led Zeppelin came out of the 70s. I mean, they're arguably one of the greatest bands of all time. Pink Floyd kicked ass.
Van Halen.
Yeah, Motley Crue started in the late 70s.
Yep.
They were more prominent in the 80s, but they were really good.
See, I think a lot of you, I think you're cherry picking when you want these people to start.
Well, hold on. When do they start?
Is it when? That's what I'm saying, or is it when they? Because if you look, Aerosmith had shit going on in the 90s.
Well, yeah, but they started in the fucking 70s, Andy.
Well, so who do you like so well from the 90s? Like Limp Bizkit or who
No, not that stuff.
Because I'm an 80s kid also. You and I are the same age.
Yes, I like the Hootie. I just like the scene from the 90s. I like the Hootie and the Blowfish, Collective Soul. It takes me a while to figure out to do these bands' names.
That's how good they are. You can't, that's the problem with the 70s and 80s. We don't have a problem.
I can't.
Journey.
Other than Motley Crue and Def Leppard, I can't think of anybody from the 80s right now.
Guns N' Roses.
I thought they were 90s.
No, Guns N' Roses was 80s.
So now Guns N' Roses gets the 80s, even though they didn't have a hit until the 90s.
Faster Pussycat, great one. Hadn't thought about them in a long time.
Never heard of them.
Oh, they were really good.
Listen to House of Pain by Faster Pussycat, Andy. You're going to love it.
Okay, hold on, Andy. Guns N' Roses didn't have a hit in the 80s?
Late 80s.
Well, it's the fucking 80s.
So you just get your cake and you eat it too.
They come out in the fucking 80s.
You get your cake and you eat it too. That's fine.
So you're claiming all these. You graduated in 2006. You want to claim everything from when I was in school. I listened to Guns N' Roses in college.
I feel like Dad hit Mommy at the dinner table. Now we all have to keep eating.
So what do you consider? So
I've already told you.
Hootie and the Blowfish is the band of the 90s.
I like that vibe.
They're very good.
We got Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Green Day. See there? Looky there. He's going to claim Nirvana. Watch him.
When Nirvana's first take?
I have no idea.
In the 80s.
I just pulled up a list, and it says the greatest bands from the 90s. When did Nirvana get big? It was the grunge movement. It was the grunge movement.
Look up their first album.
See there? This is what he does, Logan. He's like, well, look up their first album. They might have had a fucking back alley record deal in the 80s, and it's an 80s band.
I think Teen Spirit came out.
Even though nobody I think it's 92 about.
Was that when Teen Spirit was out?
I would say so.
I think their first album was in the 80s.
But if you want to claim them, listen, if you need to make the 80s more stout by adding Nirvana, go ahead. Go ahead. Fucking take Pearl Jam, too.
No, that's okay.
Okay, Logan, the reason that we called you, and I'm sorry that you had to get involved in this. I'm sorry that you had to see.
This wasn't the reason.
I'm sorry that you had to see Jeff in this manner. I know it's embarrassing.
Hey, real quick before we get too far, and I apologize, but the 70s are definitely the best. Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Aerosmith, Black Sabbath, Eagles, Rolling Stones, ZZ Top, Deep Purple, AC/DC, Doobie Brothers, Journey, and that's just a few.
But 70s were stacked.
The Doobie. Did you say ZZ Top?
He did. AC/DC?
Yeah, I'm not.
So, Jeff, the
those
fucking
are
80s
bands
sucks.
I like the 70s as my preference anyways. I listen to 70s on my radio more than I do anything.
You're full of shit.
I
listen
don't.
to a lot of
I listen. Where were when were the Animals? They were the 60s, weren't they?
Yeah.
What's the song called
Yes.
down in New Orleans?
Hell,
What's that song? God dang, there's a
Are
house.
you talking about
the Animals? There's a
the house, the rising
House, the Rising Sun. What a great tune.
It's about a whorehouse, isn't it?
Yes, Five Finger Death.
Yeah. I think-
2000.
Do what?
Five Finger
Five
Death
Finger
Punch
Death
did.
Punch did it in the 2000s.
Well-
It's delicious too if you listen to it.
There's some songs. I like Guns N' Roses' "Live and Let Die" better than I do the Beatles.
Hey, Mr. Conspiracy, we were talking. I watched a movie, a James Bond movie, and they were talking about how the airline companies got shorted right before 9/11.
I mean, how deep do you want me to go in on this?
As far as you want to go. I'm just telling you what I heard.
There's also that Silverstein guy who owned the Twin Towers took out a massive insurance policy on both the towers and got paid billions of dollars like a week before all that happened. So it just depends on what you want to believe. But yeah, there's definitely some people that seemed like knew about 9/11 before it happened.
So he took out a massive insurance policy on the Twin Towers. And
Yeah, I think his name was Larry Silverstein, if I'm right.
I think that's exactly right. There's also supposedly $1 billion in gold in the bottom of it that had disappeared that they never did recover either.
Yeah, Larry Silverstein 9/11 insurance policy. Soon after the September 11 attacks in 2001, Silverstein declared his intent to rebuild, though that doesn't really tell us. So a week before, he took out a big insurance policy, and he got $3.55 billion after both the towers fell.
Jesus, can you imagine?
Did he rebuild it or did someone else rebuild it?
The Freedom Towers?
I don't think he rebuilt it.
You know, we went to 9/11. Was it the year after that happened, Andy?
No.
So you went to 11 the year after it happened?
No. Fucking.
What did he say?
You had a stroke again.
There is there's a time machine somewhere in West Texas.
We went to the memorial in 2007,
Was
and
it
I don't even know if we went to the memorial.
Yes,
just
we
went
did.
downtown.
No, we went to the place, went to the fire station and everything.
The Freedom Tower.
Yeah, that'd be great. We could do it.
Yeah.
That's in.
Windshield on that.
Okay.
Gate 2, so yeah, we can do them both.
Okay. Yep, they're in it.
Which one is it out here?
That black Ford right out here.
Yep.
Thanks.
And give yourself a raise.
Sorry about that. Yeah, phrase. I'm gonna retire. Me and Larry Silverstein.
Yeah, no shit, right? I'm trying to look up. See
It's a
who's
good-looking
rebuilding.
hat you're wearing.
And a good-looking
Oh,
shirt.
it wasn't even planned. I've just been wearing it.
Well, good. I'm proud of you.
So there was obviously some fuckery that was going on.
100% there was fuckery. Whether it was an inside job or not, there was people who obviously knew what was happening,
Right.
unless they just sort of dream about it.
Did you see the picture of the camel jockeys all sitting watching from like a table and they were videoing and they were cheering and shit? It was all happening.
How did they know to have the video cameras ready to go?
That's a very good question.
I don't think camel jockeys is politically correct, but I'll double check here in just a second.
I can tell you, I really don't give a fuck
If you heard our
politically correct or not.
first segment, it's about par for the course.
I saw your text. You said that Jeff was on a bit of a rant, so
Yeah.
I can't wait to this one.
Oh, I talked about the blackface, whiteface shit. I think if it's okay for them to do whiteface on TV with black people, that it's not that big a deal to do blackface.
Okay, but is it okay for a white person to use the N-word?
No, but
Well, what's the difference? If
but-
it's okay for black people to do it on TV and call black people the N-word, then why can't white people? If it's okay for black people to do it, it's the same logic, Jeff.
yeah, but when black people say it, it just sounds funnier. The on the end of it.
We're not even supposed to sing it anymore either.
No.
You see where Boy got in trouble because he sang a Ja Rule song that said the N-word, and they came down on him for that.
I don't
You're
know
not
who Ja
supposed.
Rule
You're,
is,
you're
so-
supposed to take liberties with their music now. All of a sudden, so you can really just whatever song it is, like you can just add whatever words you want. That is why I think that Eminem is the greatest rapper ever alive, because he built a career without using the N-word at the end of every phrase.
Well,
Think about it. He's at a serious disadvantage. Lil Wayne can just put the N-word at the end of every sentence, which he often does.
Will Smith also built an amazing rap career, never used the N-word.
He did.
A rap career.
He
Fuck. Going to Miami.
Going to Miami. He did. Good for
Parents just don't understand.
Will. So that is why Eminem is the greatest rapper alive.
This is right back to why the 70s and 80s were better, because nobody got them feelings hurt about shit all the time.
I think the black people took that pretty hard in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
If
I
you
don't
watch-
think they've ever really liked that.
You don't think they watched Sanford and Son and laughed their ass off?
Oh, I think that, like, some black people in Birmingham, Alabama in the 60s had a pretty rough go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they in the 70s, I don't think they were too keen on that. Even then, Jeff, but, it's your history, bud. It was before my time, so you just tell me how it was
Thank
back
you.
then.
You finally understand that. That's exactly
You
right.
just tell me how black people felt back in the 60s and 70s, and I'll just go along with it.
Well, I went to school.
You were there, not me.
I went to school with a bunch of black kids. I don't ever hear it. Never noticed any of them bitching and whining much, because I was a poor white kid. So what's the difference? We was all poor together.
Yeah, it's all the same. You're right. You could use whatever.
What-
you couldn't use the bathroom or go in the front of the house. You're
Well,
right,
hold on. I never grew up where people couldn't go to the bathroom where they wanted to go to.
You have you not watched Remember the Titans? You boys take that out back.
No, that's not the way it was where I was at.
Well,
Yeah.
I never, ever was anywhere that a black person couldn't go in my life.
well, yeah, you were
Yeah, I was born
running
into
around in
privilege.
the 80s.
Well, in the 70s. But I grew up playing sports against black kids, and I never noticed any of them unhappy.
Did you go home with them all? Like, were you with them 24/7?
No, I did not go to school with a black kid till I was in junior high.
Oh, who's
Of course, black kids you were playing sports again were happy. They were playing against you.
I went to a great elementary that we whooped a lot of ass on everybody we played. We won a lot of city championships. So I didn't get beat very often in anything.
Something to hang your hat on.
That's right. I peaked in 5th grade. But I didn't grow up. I did not grow up around prejudice like that. That's what I'm saying. I didn't go where you couldn't go to a bathroom somewhere. That was 10, 15 years before me. And yeah, that was wrong. I agree with you on that.
Haven't you said that in Wichita Falls it's across the tracks? So evidently you lived in a fairly segregated piece of Wichita Falls.
All of Wichita Falls in the 70s was that way, yes.
Okay, so you did see segregation.
No, I
you
didn't-
had to go across the tracks to get into the black community.
Why did I go over there?
I don't know, Jeff.
Well, you said I went over there, so tell me why I went over there.
I didn't say you went over
Hang
there.
on.
I said that you said that in Wichita Falls you had to go across the tracks to find a black community.
I did go across the tracks because my dad used to
So
work
now
the
he's
fire
saying
station.
he went across, but that's what I'm saying. You lived in a segregated society in the 70s.
It wasn't segregated. They could live anywhere they wanted to. They just
But
stayed on
it
one
was
side.
understood that if they were across the tracks,
The town I grew up in, everybody was in their place and nobody said nothing. Nobody complained.
oh, so now keep these boys in their place is
No,
what he's
that's
saying,
not what I said.
right? Right?
Oh, you're trying to make this a lot different than
Right?
what
Just
it is.
keep them in
No.
their place and everybody's fine. AKA,
They know their place.
yeah, they know their place. As long as they don't get out of there, the white people are going to stay happy. That's fucking terrible, Jeff. I'm glad I didn't live in the 70s. I'm glad.
Listen,
They did.
are we about to start a rally? What is
Yeah.
going on?
I can tell you right now
He's
that
fucking
that
awful.
The black kids would not have chose my elementary school to go to because we was a bunch of poor white people. So we were segregated from the upper class white people and the middle class. We were lower class. People did not have their feelings weren't as hurt as they are now. Nobody was out trying to stir everybody up about shit. If you wanted something, anybody out there, no matter what color you are, could achieve anything they wanted by working their ass off.
And who tries to stir people up more than anybody we know?
And do what?
I said, who tries to stir people up more than anybody we know now?
Yeah.
I don't know who.
Jeff Stanfield.
No. Well, I don't care.
Just stay in your place, stay in your lane, stay on that side of town, and everything will be fine. Right, Jeff?
Yep, that's exactly right.
Good. I'm glad you. Golly, I just can't. What a terrible time to be alive, Logan.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about the Raiders.
Before Looking Glass pulls their sponsorship from the Big Honker podcast, let's get off of this fucking topic.
I love you guys so much.
You've taken my heart out. You got our number one weapon in Green Bay. We offered him more money, and he opted to go play for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay, so is that actually true that the Packers offered him a better contract than the Raiders did?
That's what I saw on Twitter. So it's got to be
I
true.
heard that, but I didn't know. I never saw it from Schefter, so I didn't know if it was true or not.
Well, Schefter did call the Tom Brady deal out first.
What did he say?
He said that Tom Brady's retired, and last time I looked, that fucker's playing football again.
Yeah.
So Schefter's been wrong twice.
The Devontae Adams thing, though, are you pretty down about it?
Yes, especially the day of. I was pretty. It just shocked me. Like, it came out of absolutely.
He said Aaron Rodgers knew about it.
Nowhere.
Did you know that?
Well, I mean,
I read an article today and said he was well aware that that was going to happen.
I need the accountant that these NFL teams have, because NFL teams are the only place that can be $20 million over the salary cap, pay all of their people, and get under the salary cap by $8 million. It makes no sense to me.
Okay, I think me and somebody were just talking about this a couple days ago. Where does all this money come from? Like, who's actually writing the checks for this?
The teams, the TV contracts.
What do you? Oh, the TV contracts is where they get their revenue.
I think each NFL team gets $350 million a season.
Jesus Christ!
That doesn't count their own. Now, my numbers may be off because one of our accountants that listen to us, of course, is going to correct us on this. Do y'all get corrected on y'all's podcast all the time for shit y'all say that's not completely right?
Oh yeah, but I mean, we just talk a lot more bullshit than you guys, so there's not a whole lot of fact checking to be done. You guys are actually talking about relative things.
Well, I think each team gets $350 million as part of that $3 billion whatever the hell it was.
I'll look that up. But the New York Times posted it. Packer Wire posted it. They're all saying that he got offered more money to stay in Green Bay.
But that's where they get their
Packer
money.
Wire via Yahoo. So USA.
He said it was dream to go play for the Raiders. So I don't know. Did he grow up a Raiders fan? Is he a West Coast kid?
Yes.
Yeah, he played in Fresno. He played with Derek Carr. That was his quarterback in college.
I knew that, but I didn't know where he actually grew up.
I think he's an LA kid.
Him and Derek Carr hold like all the records together at Fresno. They're best friends.
I just hope Well,
the Packers should have signed Allen Robinson. Is what they should have done as soon as they got rid of. As soon as they knew Devontae wasn't going to go there, they should have done that. They said there's going to be 5 to 6 wide receivers taken in the first round, which is about their going trend anyways. And that's the player that can come in the NFL and be an automatic contributor. You know, quarterbacks are hard because there's such a learning curve. Wide receivers, it doesn't seem to be as hard a curve for them.
Now run fast, catch the goddamn ball.
Yeah, I mean, look at Jerry Jeudy, the kid at Miami. What's his name?
DK Metcalf, his first year in the league.
The kid at what's the kid's name at Miami? Waddle kid, Jefferson kid from Minnesota, Jamar Chase. I mean,
says they get the vast majority of their money via television.
Somebody said that.
That's where I'm just fact checking you, Jeff.
You know,
you say a lot of shit like, they should just know their place. So I just wanted to make sure.
Let me clarify that so everybody's listening. Everybody had
we're going back to this
place that they were. It didn't matter what color were you were poor together, and everybody stayed with their own type people. When I mean that, I'm talking about if you were a poor person, you hung out with poor people. That's just the way it was. And very few people wanted to be bused from one place to another to go to freaking school. They were happy where they were. Most people were. Wichita Falls had
happy in chains.
Wichita Falls had a black high school that was very, very successful in sports and life, and they did not want to have to go somewhere else to go to school.
Glad you clarified that.
Well, hold on. I did
masterful.
I did a paper in college on a black guy that I worked with that was a lot older than me, went through all that stuff, and he told me that. Yeah. They were perfectly content. He said, we have brand new school here, state-of-the-art everything, and they close it down and ship us to school on other places of towns to get federal money. And he said we didn't want that.
Mm-hmm.
See, Jeff cited his sources, Andy, so shut the fuck up about it.
Thank you very much.
His friends that are all black people. All my friends are black.
No, this ain't no corn pop deal.
I'm going to bring you a hood next time we talk about this shit. You can just throw that on there.
I've got one. It says Looking Glass Duck Club on it that Logan gave me.
Easy.
Those were special edition.
So how do you feel? Now you got Derek Carr. I have said I think the AFC West is the toughest division in the NFL right now.
Yeah, offensively and defensively pretty much now. Have you seen – well, the Raiders got Chandler Jones from Arizona, and they have Max Crosby, who got a huge deal. And then the other 3 teams also have incredible DNs too. So it's going to be scary for quarterbacks.
Yes.
This year.
And, I mean, I think that the Raiders had to do this out of self-preservation. Like if they didn't make, and we talked about this because Russell Wilson had just gone to Denver, and we were saying, what are the Raiders going to do to kind of stay up par, and fucking went and got the best receiver in the league. Now, is Derek Carr going to get the same production out of him that Aaron Rodgers did?
No, of course not.
Why?
You're talking two completely different things. I know, Jeff, you're a Derek Carr homer for whatever reason, but Aaron Rodgers he's going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Derek Carr is just so mediocre to me.
Well, Derek Carr's grandparents lived down the street from me growing up, so they were poor white people.
They weren't black.
Out of town, and so
no, they're actually black.
yeah.
That's why I like playing for the Raiders. It's the uniforms.
Yeah, that's why him and Devontae are best friends.
Yeah, exactly.
I think.
But go ahead.
I think Derek Carr and that's you got Hunter Renfrow, who's going to be this year's Cooper Cup probably. He's along the lines of Julian Edelman, going to catch a lot of passes. They got Darren Waller, the baller, who sucked and killed my fantasy team this year. They got a lot of weapons there, and they've added some defense. I think someone besides the Chiefs are going to win the West this year.
Probably the Chargers, don't you think?
I don't know who it's going to be. The injuries are going to play a big part, but, I mean, that's a solid division. Every team is really a good football team. There's a lot of talent there.
So let me ask you this. So before Devontae went to the Raiders, how many wins do you think he adds to the Raiders this year?
Well, he increased their odds of winning the Super Bowl. They went from a 12-1 to an 11-1. But I don't know. I mean, maybe a couple games.
Wow.
Possibly.
So you think they're going to win 12 games this year then?
No, I think they're going to win 11 because I thought they were only going to win 9 before they picked up Devontae with as tough as the West got. So I'm going to give them 11-6 this year is my prediction.
I think Denver wins that division.
You think so?
They got a lot of
$100 bill.
What the hell? Yeah, signed $100 bill. I think so. Just because.
Do I get
do what?
You take Denver and I take the field?
Well, I just think Denver will, and you think the Raiders will.
No, he didn't say that at all.
I know. I just think Denver does. They have the most veteran quarterback. I think Russell Wilson is a better quarterback than Mahomes is. I think Mahomes has had more talent around him.
So here were the standings for last year. Chiefs were 12-5, Raiders were 10-7, Chargers 9-8, and Broncos were 7-10. You think that the Broncos are going to win 5 more games because of Russell Wilson?
I think whoever wins that division is going to be 11-6.
So you think the Chiefs are going to lose a game?
Yes.
I don't know, Jeff.
You think whoever wins 11-6 with a majority of the losses coming within the division, I assume?
I think everybody in that division is going to be 11-6, and I think the worst team is going to be 9-8.
Who's the worst team now?
I don't know. I think the Broncos will be 11-6 and win the division. And I'm not a Bronco lover by any means, but Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and then they've got what's that running back's name? That rookie last year they had
Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams was really good, and they've got a really good defense. Big horse cock Randy Gregory is going to add a lot to their team if he stays if he stays sober. So I don't know. I think Denver, and Denver's got a tradition and history of winning and stuff. I just think they'll be really good. And Russell Wilson's a really good quarterback. If we see Russell Wilson from 2 years ago, if we see Russell Wilson from last year, they might go 3-14.
That's true.
Having Russell Wilson in a place where he wants to be, that could totally change everything too. Because I know he wanted out of Seattle for the last couple of years,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So now in Denver, and maybe he wants to bust ass, really try to turn things around. So they very well could win the West. It's hard to say. It's kind of up, it's anybody's game right now. Who knows?
Who's going to be the surprise team in the NFL? Because every year we have a team that comes out of nowhere that's very, very good. And they can be really competitive. They may not go with the Super Bowl or nothing like Cincinnati did, but every year we have a team that jumps up big in the year. And we're going to have one this year.
It's going to be the Browns.
Browns were good last year. They made the playoffs.
They were 8-9.
Man,
They didn't make the playoffs last year?
It says here they were 8-9.
Was it the year before they made the playoffs? Then,
Did you guys see that they came out with since the free agency they've re-ranked all the teams?
No.
The Bills are number 1. All 4 of the AFC West teams are in the top 10. I think Chiefs are like number 4. Chargers are number 2 after the free agency. I got to find it. I had it on Twitter a little bit ago, but it was actually kind of interesting.
The Chargers are like the
then, of
Ravens.
course, you had your ship.
Baltimore.
How so?
Well, what have they done? They haven't done nothing. All they do is talk about their ranked number two. They haven't made the playoffs yet. You know, Herbert looks like a good quarterback, but I mean he hasn't won nothing. Same as the kid at Baltimore,
Lamar Jackson.
They always talk about how great he is, and hell, he ain't done shit.
How do you feel about what do they call DC or
the
Washington
Commanders.
now, Jeff? The Commanders. How do you feel about the Commanders?
Well,
Carson Wentz, baby, the savior.
I see everybody's picking them to win the division. That's kind of nuts, I think.
Why would they pick them to win the division?
Because the Dallas, they said, hasn't gotten any better at all, and they think Washington's gotten better. Carson Wentz, from before he got his leg hurt with Philadelphia, if he's that Carson Wentz, and he actually had really good stats last year.
That was 3 years ago,
No,
Jeff.
well, last year he had good stats. He had 30 touchdowns and 8 interceptions.
He had a great
But he
offensive
played
line,
horrible.
and he
You're
had a
right.
great running game.
You're right.
There's no sense.
I'm not. Who do you think's going to win the division? Philadelphia, New York. I don't think it's going to be Dallas.
Dallas.
I don't think so. Dallas
It's going to be
gotten any
Dallas
better
at
all.
10-7. I think that's
If
going
that's
to
it,
win.
then Philadelphia wins it.
That's going to win the East.
I think Philadelphia wins that division.
I just don't see Carson Wentz being
I didn't pick Washington.
last year 12-5, 9-8, 7-10, 4-13.
Do what? I think it's going to be Philadelphia.
You think Phil?
Yep. Philadelphia made the playoffs last year. They had a lot of injuries, lots of injuries, and they still made the playoffs. And they've got good personnel, and yeah, I think they do. I really do. I think Philadelphia wins the division.
I just don't know how sold.
Your phone cut out. What?
I said I just don't know how sold I am on Jalen Hurts yet.
Well, Lamar Jackson made over. He's more of a threat running than he is throwing, it seems like. And you need a quarterback, not a running back throwing the ball. But I like Dak Prescott. I think he is really good.
This is off all side of the tracks thing again.
Oh, here we go. And
I don't know if he's the source that we need to be talking to about.
I like Dak Prescott a lot.
He showed his true colors.
But I think James Washington, he's the only reason I'll pull for the Dallas Cowboys will be for James Washington. But I just don't think Dallas did not help themselves on defense at all. And
is that where James Washington landed?
yeah,
with
he
Dallas?
signed with them Friday night.
I'm supposed to.
1-year deal. So should be good.
That's great. Though.
Yeah. You gotta. He's got a lot to prove this year. But hopefully, he's in an offense that throws the ball a ton. So if he can shine a little bit, maybe he can get a long-term deal either in Dallas or somewhere else the next year.
I can guarantee you right now that I'm going to make one player a stud. He will be the number one player in fantasy football because I think CeeDee Lamb has been pretty much a bust. So I pretty much guaranteed him having about 140 catches next year for 30,000 yards.
See, there you go, Jeff.
Well, I Googled the current power rankings, and it has Raiders at 25th.
Oh.
Chiefs are at 1, Bills 2, Bengals 3, Green Bay at 4, Rams 5, Frisco 6, Cowboys are at 7.
I don't agree with
I
don't agree with San Francisco at all.
Why?
I don't. It's got the Vikings at 14, and they're usually a kind of a dumpster fire. They re-signed old what's his nuts, and he usually sucks ass.
Turkey boy.
Kirk Cousins.
I think every one of his contracts has been guaranteed money.
We're going to see what's going to happen because there's fixing to be some more trades in football. You're going to have Baker's going to go somewhere, and Matt Ryan's going to go somewhere else.
And the Packers are going to draft 2 backup quarterbacks with those picks that they got from the Raiders, and then it's just going to be all hunky-dory.
Jameis Winston's got to sign with somebody. I tell you what.
Said he's going to the Saints.
Have they signed him yet?
I think so.
I think they were waiting to see what happens with Baker Mayfield still.
I thought he was with the Saints.
And he could be. Baker Mayfield, whoever goes to Indy is going to be in a good situation. And Baker Mayfield, the problem since Indy don't have any receivers. They got Michael Pittman. That's it. So what's going on in Missouri right now? Y'all getting a bunch of rain and stuff again?
Getting ready to go turkey hunting.
No, it's supposed to be about 2:00 this afternoon, and then it's going to rain until like Thursday. So we're going to come to a standstill. A lot of beer lunches up here, I'm guessing.
Glad to see nothing's changing.
But no, I'm the same. I don't lip sync, Jeff. I'm the same person I always have been. But, Andy, I never answered your question real quick about Davante Adams. You asked how I felt about it. I like it, but I feel like we probably spent too much money. It's kind of like buying a Lamborghini just to go off-roading with, because if he gets hurt, then, I mean, you're out a pile of money. And then you just, you're down to the same weapons you had last year. We'll be stuck right in the same boat. So I like it as long as he stays healthy, which is a really generic answer, I understand, but that's where I'm at.
How about if you look at it this way? When you signed him, you gave up a first-round pick and a second-round pick. Is that right?
Yeah. This year's draft.
You can't draft Davante Adams. The money thing is, but money's not an object to NFL teams anyways. They're playing with $300 million anyways. I mean, you're basically using someone else's money to pay for your team.
OPM, as my dad always says.
That's right. And do the Raiders own their football stadium there?
Oh, somehow I doubt it.
Well, Jerry Jones owns the one in Dallas, so I mean in Arlington. So I didn't know, but that's a big revenue source. Do what?
Jerry Jones is a legit billionaire. Mark Davis grew up a poor white kid on the other side of the tracks and off ball.
with the shitty haircut.
With a terrible haircut. He went to the other side of the tracks to get his haircut and then had to go back to the south.
So here's where
boy, I've been so good for Wichita Falls, I'm telling you.
Here's why I feel I'm starting to come around to the idea of not having Davante Adams. The Packers were 6-0 without him.
Yeah, because they had Aaron Rodgers.
That's what I'm saying. I think if Aaron Rodgers, if they can sign one legitimate guy that's still in free agency, I think OBJ is still left. I understand he tore his ACL.
Jarvis Landry's still there.
Jarvis Landry's still out there. I just
DK wants out.
DK wants out. If we could somehow swing DK, that would be massive. But
literally and figuratively,
we got a chicken and egg problem here in Green Bay. Was Davante that good, or was he that good because Aaron Rodgers is that good?
Davante is really, really, really good, but Aaron Rodgers made him look really, 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 really good. Just like Robert Tonyan is not that good at tight end,
right?
But with Aaron Rodgers, and it's proven that over and over again. If you got a guy that can sling the ball around, that's a good quarterback, then you're going to have really good people that are going to do good.
I kind of feel bad for Derek Carr because now all the chips are on the table, and it's like, okay, bud, we got you your weapon. Go ball.
He was good last year.
Yeah, but are the Raiders fans just going to be happy with eking into the playoffs and then losing in the first round?
Why, we're used to it.
Who?
I think if the Raiders don't make a run, they're setting themselves up for failure.
Look, I'll give you a good example of a quarterback making a receiver. Kenny Golladay. Matthew Stafford, Kenny Golladay caught 100 passes for 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. He played with Daniel Jones this year, and he wasn't healthy some, but he was sucked.
Derek Carr's a better quarterback than Daniel Jones, though.
No, I know that. What I'm saying is that was the difference. Matt Stafford made Kenny Golladay a rich man.
I don't think anybody compared Davante Adams to Kenny Golladay.
No, I'm just using the example of a quarterback with a receiver.
Right.
Matt Stafford made Kenny Golladay really good.
Sure.
Just like Brett Favre made
Shanko,
and he also made Percy Harvin.
Yes.
Percy Harvin never did nothing after he left there.
But that
fast.
But that also goes to who did Percy play for after that? Didn't he go to
He went
Miami?
to Seattle or somewhere.
Vikings.
No, he was with you're right. He did go to Seattle, but that was in the Tavares Jackson days, wasn't it? That wasn't in Russell Wilson's days.
And he
went to a place with a shitty quarterback,
and he got in a fight with what's the guy's name that played at Notre Dame that was so good? He played for the Giants. Was there a Golden?
Finley?
No, what the hell was that kid's name? He was a receiver. But anyways, they got in a fight.
Was he black or white, Jeff? Or I don't see color, so you're going to have to.
I'm not that kind of person. He got in a fight with a guy and a teammate over. He got in a fight with Jalen Ramsey, a neighborhood fight because Jalen Ramsey was sleeping with his sister, Golden Tate.
Yeah, it was Golden Tate.
Golden Tate.
Yeah,
he went to Notre Dame.
Huh?
He went to Notre
Yes.
Dame.
Why, you don't think he's good enough to be at Notre Dame? Is that what you're trying to say? I mean,
Not say that. Didn't know he was.
you people in Rockport, I'm telling you.
Didn't know he was Catholic is all.
You know what? I'm gonna talk college basketball. Did you see that? Did you watch any college basketball at all, Logan?
I've been here and there, but I'm not huge on March Madness. But if my buddies are watching,
I'm the same way. TCU got screwed last night.
Did they?
Yeah, Arizona and them played, and it was. And a kid from TCU got knocked down with 2 seconds. They didn't call nothing. It went to overtime. They should have shot 2 free throws. But I'm like everybody else. I don't watch basketball that much, but when I do, I want to bitch about the officiating. College basketball officials are fucking horrible. God almighty, every game I watched was shitty on both sides. It wasn't just one scene, but it was horrible.
I've seen a lot of bitching. I've got some friends who are refs on Facebook, and they've been bitching about the officiating in this tournament. So I didn't know what was going on.
Is TCU horrible. The game where the kid held onto the rim or something?
No, that was another thing. That was another shitty call. Illinois slammed the ball, and the guy hung on the fish, and they called him a tech, so it cost him like 4 points in that game.
Because Barstool said this is the exact reason that coaches should be able to fight the refs.
Yeah,
that technical.
It was a really shitty call. I mean, I watched Tech game. There were some calls both ways. The Texas Purdue game, there was not many calls in the game, but Purdue was the better team. They should have won. But TCU got screwed out of probably beating Arizona.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it was the last play of the game, and it was 2 seconds left. The kid got knocked down from TCU. It should have been a foul. The kid should have shot 2 free throws with a second and a half left, and they probably would have won the game.
So the refs did not get involved.
No, they swallowed the whistle, but they
yeah,
shouldn't
but
have.
I don't hate that.
No, when you saw the play, you would be like,
I think if the refs would have stayed out of the Super Bowl, Cincinnati probably would have won it. But they wanted the fix was in to let Matthew Stafford win. So.
Oh God, here we go again.
Refs get.
I'm cheering hard though in this deal.
You're what?
I'm cheering for St. Peter's.
I hope they win it all. See, that was going to be my big game. It would have been Texas and St. Peter's playing. Either way, I'm getting a team in the Final 8 that I like. Now Purdue's got this 7'4" kid that looks like he's special. He just kind of walks around like Frankenstein, and there ain't nobody gonna stop him. I mean, he just kind of bullies his way around.
Special.
Huh?
He is, Jeff. He's 7'4".
Yes, very special individual.
Hey, he is special.
So special. He looks like he drools a lot. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe puts a helmet on at night so he doesn't bump his head.
Bam Bam want ice cream.
Who have we not offended?
How many more demographics do we have?
What demographic do y'all think he is?
I don't even know who the kid is. I've never seen him in my life.
Well, no, I didn't say nothing
What's
either.
What's his name?
But you assumed. I think his last name's Lind. Well, go ahead, Logan. What demographic do you think he is?
If he's a 7'4" kid at Purdue, which is in Indiana, I'm going to guess he's a white guy.
I don't know if he's white or Mexican or Chinese or what he is. I don't know.
Assure you, he's probably not Mexican or Chinese if he's 7'4". I mean, I hope
so
I'm not
now
speaking.
you're just ripping on Chinese people can't be more than 5'3" is what you're saying.
I didn't say.
Yeah,
I didn't throw out a height.
What was the old guy that played basketball for the Rockets? Yao Ming. He was like 7'6".
That's a good point. I fucked up there.
I just wanted to call that out.
Jeez.
I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
How tall? How big?
I don't even know. You didn't give me You hadn't even give me a name.
Look up.
Talking about Zach.
What's his last name?
Zach Edey.
Yeah, it might be it. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
He does. He looks Asian.
There you go. Again, I guess I'm tag teamed by you and Andy.
Oh, hey, Bob. You're on the Big Honker podcast right now.
Hi.
Say
hey, how are you?
You need a drink?
Always.
You want a whiskey?
Always.
Sure.
All right, let me finish this up. I'll pour you a whiskey.
What are we pouring today?
Oh, probably Maker's Mark. That's what we have. It is going on 11:20.
So you have. I asked you about that George Dickel. You said you hadn't done the select barrel, but you have.
No, not the Barrel Select, no. But I've had some George Dickel, and it's always been wonderful.
But it's a rye. What's that's just the major. What color? What is this guy's ethnicity?
Exactly.
I
don't see color in people anyways. I just see the quality of people.
Me too.
But I'm telling you
Especially,
right now.
especially those across the
What
track.
ethnicity? Say that.
Who?
This guy. What ethnicity would you say he is? And don't use any slurs.
I don't know. He looks Asian, kind of, doesn't he?
Yeah, Asian kind of. We're going with Asian.
Well, we're all wrong because he's Canadian.
Oh.
So
Well, that's not an ethnicity. I tell you,
he's a Viking.
what?
Easy.
Well, if I'm starting a basketball team, I'm starting a black guy. That's what I'm doing.
I'm going with the Canadian Chinese person.
Every time. Give me 5 of
Give me
those.
5 of them, and we'll
Take 5.
we'll dominate. Just give me all the Chinese Canadians.
Well, Logan, you go pull your dad a whiskey. It's good talking to you again, bud. Love you. Take care of yourself. See you. Bye.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I sure do appreciate it. Love you both.
Bye.
Bye.
Damn it! I fumbled the.
All right, let's get out of here. Also,
get out of here. We still got more stuff to talk about.
What do you want to talk about?
What did you write? Did you write anything down like I asked you to?
About what?
Whatever we were talking about before.
No, I can't even remember what we were talking about. 70s, 80s music.
Logan pretty well put a knife through the heart of your 80s music. So
no, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No.
And by the way, I was going to look up Nirvana. When did Nirvana start?
I'm going to bet you their first album is 88.
I bet you're probably right, but it's probably one nobody ever heard of.
They were more popular in the 90s than they were in the 80s. So I'll give you that as 90s music.
Their first single, Love Buzz, in November of 1988 on the Seattle independent record label Sub Pop.
All right, well, I'm not worried about them. But Guns N' Roses was an 80s band.
And I know hypotheticals are oftentimes no good.
One of the greatest ever.
You think so?
Yep. If they'd have stayed together. That music.
I'm talking about Nirvana.
Yeah, I know. I knew you were talking about.
It was a fad?
Yes, but boy, he was really talented. That's a good album. Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
That's a very, very good album. That's the thing with a lot of the bands that played in the 90s and 80s, like you're talking about Hootie, and I like Hootie. I'm not knocking on them. The one band that you said that Jesse liked so much,
Collective Souls.
That is a good song, but their whole makeup of their music forever. I don't know 40 years from now if people's going to be listening to them. People are like, wow, 40 years. Well, how long ago do you think Aerosmith come out and the Eagles?
Right.
That music that's timeless music.
But they've also done things that have reinvented themselves. Like they said, Aerosmith was basically irrelevant until they teamed up with Run DMC.
That's exactly
and then that
right.
kind of threw them back onto the map.
Eagles
are obviously timeless, but I mean, nobody gave a shit about Motley Crue until the documentaries came out about them.
No, they were a casino band basically now because all their people that listen to them are old now, but everybody knows Motley Crue's music. I mean, if Motley Crue still tour now and they're going to go fill up, reunion's out of, it's not even, they're going to go fill out a big venue somewhere because people my age are going to go see them. It's not going to be a bunch of young chicks pulling their tits out like it was back in the 80s and the 90s listening to them. It's going to be them same old people pulling out their titties and they're going to hit their fucking husband in the eyeballs if they're standing on their shoulders. Mm-hmm. So it's the same group of people that are listening to them that listened to them before. I don't know that a kid in high school today is going to be listening, but to them, but still that music is that hair band arena rock and roll is still popular with younger people still listen to it some. I would not go to a Motley Crue concert. I wouldn't go to a Def Leppard concert. I wouldn't go to concerts to me, and I just bought concert tickets yesterday.
To who?
Me and Mom are going to see Kenny Chesney.
That would probably be fun. I want I don't like the pyrotechnics and all that other stuff. I like when Aaron Lewis got up there, he had a guitar, and that was it.
Yeah, I don't want to see Vince Neil break a hip now trying to do girls, girls, girls like I did back in the 80s. It's a whole different. I'm older too. That does it. But we're going to go see Kenny Chesney.
If Elton John was on a stage with just a piano,
that would be a hell of a concert.
I think that would be one of the best concerts you could ever imagine.
We went to Jimmy Buffett a couple of years ago.
That'd probably be fun.
We were 20 years younger than anybody sitting in our section. Now we had really good seats. Matter of fact, they were gifts to the people that owned the stadium, so they were a select group of people in them seats. But we were a lot younger than everybody else, and we've seen Jimmy Buffett 3 or 4 times. I like Jimmy Buffett.
I think it would be a fun concert to go see.
If I'd have known y'all to go to Kenny Chesney, I'd have bought you and Jesse tickets.
No.
You don't hang out with us for a night?
No, it's not that. It's just it would be fun, but it wouldn't be anything that I would.
Oh, I can't wait to go. We're going to the new Cowboy Stadium. It's a Saturday night.
Or Saturday night. I got better things to do on a Saturday night. I could watch Kenny Chesney on YouTube.
Well, we're going to go see him in person, and we're both excited. We both have never seen Kenny Chesney.
Never.
The next concert we're going to go to, it's big. We're going to go to Lambeau Field to see Jimmy Buffett.
Does he go up there every year?
I think every other. Once he gets on that track, we was going to go to Kenny Chesney up there, and I chose to.
Now, be
here.
honest.
Mm-hmm.
How many songs of Jimmy Buffett's do you like?
Probably about 15.
Really, that many?
Yeah, I've
I would
listened to
say
a lot of his
4.
music for a long time. Well, I've been listening to him a lot longer. He's got a lot of music.
Margaritaville.
Okay.
Come Monday.
Brown Eyed Girl.
He doesn't sing that one, does
Yeah,
he?
he does.
He sings it, but that's not his, is it?
No, that's the original one. Was
Van Morris?
Van Morris sing it.
Van
yeah.
Morrison?
Yeah, Van Morrison. Yeah, he sings Brown Eyed Girl.
So he does covers.
There's no, not very many. He does most of his own.
Well, I know that.
One Particular Harbor. Southern Cross is a damn good song. Fins is probably my favorite Jimmy Buffett song.
Fins?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's a good one.
But I've listened to Jimmy Buffett a lot, so he's a very good author also. He's got some books out there really good that I enjoy. But I enjoy his music a lot. It's a fun, good time. And Kenny Chesney's the next Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, absolutely.
And I like Kenny Chesney a lot. And he'll have somebody else that'll come on stage because he does all the time.
But okay, so here we go. Son of a Sailor.
Very good
That's
song.
a good song. So maybe he's got more than 4. Why does it always go backwards? Son of a Sailor. Fins. He Went to Paris. I don't think I've ever heard that one.
Please Come to Boston.
Cheeseburger in Paradise. I think Jimmy's done more with, he's really like tapped into his audience and made it.
Oh, the Parrot Heads is what it's all about.
Right. Come Monday, One Particular Harbor, A Pirate Looks at 40, never heard it. Margaritaville, Cheeseburger in Paradise, He Went to Paris, Fins, Son of a Sailor is number 1. The best Jimmy Buffett song isn't one, Hoisting Bar Drinks, according to Billboard.com.
She's from Boston is the name of the song. I really like that song. That's another place I'd like to see Jimmy Buffett would be at Fenway.
Why? Just because of the
I think that would be
atmosphere?
Cool. Oh, I think it would be cool as hell to see him in Fenway.
But he's really, like, he's the party guy.
Yep. He's puts on a hell of a show. Barefoot and sings.
What a life.
Yep. And nobody opens for him really. I think what the fuck's that guy's the Utley guy. Opens for him, or don't really open for him. He's in, he'll sing a couple songs like Shakira, what's her name, the girl that sings with him.
$600 million net worth.
Oh, he's an amazing guy. And
where's he from originally?
Somewhere in Alabama. His
really?
sister Lulu's got Lulu's at God dang, I can't remember the name of the place. Mississippi or Alabama. I can't remember where it's at.
Pensacola?
He's from Pensacola?
No, Pensacola.
Pascagoula, Mississippi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pascagoula, Mississippi.
Yeah. Pascagoula.
Yep.
75. Wow.
Yep, he's getting up there in age.
So this might be it.
Who knows?
Guys like him live forever.
Interesting guy, flies his own. He lives at Long Island and fishes all the time. He's got a float plane, lands it and fishes off his float plane all the time out in the middle of the harbor, they said. Interesting guy.
Weren't you going to go see Kid Rock too?
Yes.
More of my music.
Didn't get tickets for it.
More of my music.
Well, and then I was going to be able to get tickets and we couldn't go. But we're going to see Kenny Chesney.
Good deal. Well, hopefully y'all have a great time.
Oh, we'll have a damn good time. Be a good concert. I hadn't been to Texas, the new Cowboy Stadium either.
Really?
Nope.
That's shocking.
Gus says we need to go to a football game this year.
That's what he says.
I'm going to pull for James, but I can't pull for the Cowboys.
One and the same, Jeff.
Nope, can't do it. I'll pull for James. I hope he does good. I hope he has games where he catches 10 passes, 170 yards, and they get beat 35-34.
That's ugly of you.
No, it's not. He even messaged me. He texted me. He said, well, if I can just make you a Cowboy fan.
Did he say that?
I said, well, James, I'm proud of you, and I'll be pulling for you. All right, let's jump off here. Thank y'all for listening to us. God bless y'all. Have a great week.
Check out our great sponsors. Go listen to the Looking Glass Duck Club podcast. You can hear more of the debauchery that you heard here. Check out Lucky Duck, Gundog Outdoors, State Plains Meat, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Dirty Duck Coffee, Shin Gear Waders, Pacific Calls, Boss Shot Shells, Dive Bomb Industries, and Alpha Outdoor Specialties.